Welcome to the Haven Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders, owners, and professionals are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Hear from industry experts on everything from marketing, leadership, financing, and more. Brought to you by Haven, a co-working space where you can connect, create, and get stuff done.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Haven Hubcast. I'm your host, Nancy Sheed, and we are going to learn some things today with our guest, Pat Duncan. Pat is a SCORE volunteer, and she has been helping out at Haven with small businesses. Welcome, Pat.
Well, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. This is a wonderful opportunity to let people know about small businesses.
I love that. So, Pat, I think I alluded to you were a SCORE volunteer, but for those people who've never heard of SCORE, can you tell them what SCORE is and what actually SCORE stands for?
Sure. SCORE is a volunteer organization that's been in business for several decades. There are 12,000 of us across the country, all belonging to various chapters. Some people are retired and some people are still working, and it's part of giving back. So whatever we can learn, we have learned in our careers, we can help other people start or grow their own small businesses. Sometimes we meet at libraries, sometimes we have workshops, we do Zoom calls, of course, and this time a lot of Zoom calls, telephone calls, you name it. I'm fairly busy. I've had in the past about 20 clients. Right now I have about 10 active clients. Most of them are based startups. Some of them have been in business for a couple of years, but they need help in sales. That's generally the bottom line. How do I increase my business?
I love that. And so to be this expert with this experience, you obviously know something about business. So, Pat, what did your career or what did your small business journey look like before you got to be a SCORE volunteer?
Well, this was a long time ago. I lived in Manhattan and I was employed by a large corporation, and I kept getting advanced, but I then reached that ceiling and I felt that I couldn't go any further. But I was very money motivated and I'm an independent sort. So I thought the only way that I could make a lot of money was to have my own business. And so it took a while to figure out what that business might be. But I came upon the idea that you would send in a picture of your family, your house, your car, and I would make a jigsaw puzzle. Okay, that made sense. So I spent maybe $1,000 advertising in the Midwest because I felt Midwestern people do more puzzles than East Coast people. And then I sat back waiting for the postman to deliver bags and bags of orders, but that didn't happen. Only 2 orders came in. So now what? So my lesson there was be flexible. What else can you do? So I talked to the card store up on 3rd Avenue, and he said, you need a gimmick, Pat. And I had no idea what a gimmick was because I was corporate. And he says, something different, maybe a 2-sided puzzle. So sure enough, I decided what's 2-sided? Well, a playing card is 2-sided. So the first 2 puzzles were the Queen of Hearts, with the backside being the flip side of a playing card, and then the King of Spades. So then I went to the Manhattan Yellow Pages because I knew it was mounting and die cutting that would make the product, and someone had to make it. And luckily, luck is a lot to do with business, okay? And as one of my clients said, luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So think about that. So I called, I was lucky because the owner answered the phone and he says, come on up. I used to make jigsaw puzzles during the Depression. Well, during the Depression, the 2 means of entertainment were movies, 25 cents a week, and a puzzle, 25 cents a week. So he liked my story and he even bought a machine to make the puzzles. How about that? He used to talk to a lot of people. Yeah. So with that, we made 2 samples, and the stationery show was coming up at the Coliseum in New York City. That's a big trade show. And Bloomingdale's spotted the 2 puzzles under the arm and said, "Oh, this is nice." And so my first order was from Bloomingdale's for $750. There you go.
Woohoo!
Now, at the time, Bloomingdale's was the store to shop. So when stores came in from around the country to the show, they would always go to Bloomingdale's to find out what they should be ordering. And sure enough, in time, they saw the product at Bloomingdale's. And so I started ending up with orders from department stores all across the country. And with every little bit of money I made, I came out with new designs. So maybe at the end of 2 years, I had 10 or 12 designs, and one thing led to another. So
I love it.
there,
Are you
there are
still in the puzzle business?
now every person's dream is to build a company and sell it, and I realized that dream.
Nice.
About 12 years ago, 2 companies came out of the woodwork and said, "We want to be in your space. We'd like to buy you." So there was a little bidding war going back and forth, and I chose one. And they bought the company. It was a game company, and they didn't have anything in the puzzle area. Puzzles are a niche in the gift and toy business. It's just a little niche. I should say this is important too. I had no interest in becoming $100 million company or $1 billion company. Not that the puzzle business is that big. I just wanted something that would provide a nice lifestyle, provide money for a very comfortable lifestyle, and a lot of travel. So there I was. So there were a lot of lessons I learned along the way. My first lesson that I told you about was being flexible, be prepared to change direction. So if one thing doesn't work, maybe the next thing will work. And maybe you have to pivot again to something else. Talk to a lot of people. You'd be amazed. People really want to help, and they also will have ideas. So my card store owner had a good idea for a 2-sided puzzle. Also, don't be afraid of cold calling. And cold calling doesn't necessarily mean sales. It could mean a vendor. It could mean help with, I don't know what, whatever subject you're having an issue with. Talk to friends, talk to neighbors, call up people cold and say, "Hey, I need help." Maybe you're starting something local, whatever it might be. We'll say, I don't know, a workout place. You could call somebody in Denver and say, "Hey, I'm starting a business in Colorado and I need some help." They're not in competition with you, so they'd be happy to give you some information. Don't quit your day job. I worked for probably a year at my day job while I was getting this started, so I always had an income. And if it didn't work out, I always had a job. Read basic business books. The book that is popular right now is Start with the End in Mind. People don't think about that because they're excited about starting something, but also think of what you want this to be. Do you want this to be a $100,000 company, $1 million company? Do you want partners? Do you want a big product line? Do you want a chain of 100 stores? What is it that you want? Another lesson is check out the competition. We are so lucky in this day and age. We can go to Google, and I have to tell you, you can find anything you want to find on Google and find out what they're doing. What will make your product line or your service different from anybody else? And you can also check out prices that way too. Don't hire
Indeed.
friends. I made the mistake of hiring friends because they were in the neighborhood, they were convenient, but it's also a way of figuring out that maybe your friends are not business people. You can find a lot of part-time people when you're getting started that aren't friends. There are a lot of moms out there that have had good training, they've had good jobs, but they stopped to have children, and they would love to have a part-time job, a day a week, 2 days a week, 4 hours a day, whatever. And at that point, I have to tell you that my product person who handled the orders in manufacturing, was a part-time person 2 days a week and then 3 days a week. She was based in Atlanta. Her husband got transferred. They moved to Denver. Her husband got transferred again. They moved to Virginia. Her husband got transferred again. She moved to Atlanta. And she was with me this entire time. So she had to load up the company. She had to load up the kids, load up the house to then move 2 miles away to another area. My sales manager was full-time, but he was located in San Jose, California. And that worked very well. So I was one of the first out there to work with employees that were miles and miles away. My feeling was I knew them, they were honest, I didn't have to lord over anybody, and I didn't have to see them every day. We talked by telephone.
You were
Offload what you're
so
not
ahead of
good
the
at.
curve.
Huh?
I said you were so ahead of the curve, Pat. You
Yeah,
were
I
so
was, but
ahead. You were so trending.
I did what I thought worked at the time, and it worked. And this was before email and before Zoom calls. This was strictly phone calls. That was it. Hire smart people, no matter where they're located. At some point, I needed a marketing person. And here I advertised locally because I had then moved to Connecticut. And I found a gal who had corporate experience in marketing. She knew what she was talking about. And she worked for me 2 to 3 days a week because, again, she had kids at home. So I was quite flexible with the hours. And she was with me for a good 6, 7 years and in charge of a really big budget. And lastly, I have to say, review the numbers weekly. You have to stay in business, and profits will keep you in business. And I know this might sound a little silly, but at the time it made sense to me. It was just on a little sheet of paper. I asked my bookkeeper every week for our accounts receivable number and our accounts payable number. And as long as one was bigger than the other, I was fine. So I sold the business, and then I spent a year wondering what to do with myself. And I discovered SCORE, and I said, I could go out and help other people start their own small businesses just like me. I think I have a lot to offer. So I called the local office in Norwalk. They interviewed me, said, you were absolutely perfect. You're the poster child for small business. And so I've been doing that now for about 11 years.
Lucky, lucky, lucky us, lucky SCORE. I love your story and your journey and all the wisdom that you've brought to the table and letting us learn from your lessons. Pat, how you said you've got about 12 clients now with you with SCORE. Sounds like you said they come to you for sales. What does it look like if they are having other problems? How does that work? Do you refer them to a specialist somewhere else? Give us a little more insight about how that works when you have a SCORE counselor.
It really varies.
Mm-hmm.
One fellow called me up. He was a disc jockey and he had invented a game, and he wanted to promote it on his show, but he needed some help. Unfortunately, he never shared the game idea with me. Otherwise, I could have given him some feedback. Not sure what happened to him. I had a lady with a skincare line, just what we need, right? Another skincare line. But she had sales and she had a nicely designed website and she had a hot product. So we talked about how she could promote that product even more, because Amazon is great. It's a great way to test product. But after that, you have to get into the retail store base out there. So we talked about that. I had a fellow with an escape room. Escape rooms are the big trend out there in the marketplace. And so we talked about location. We
Yes,
talked
exactly.
about the topic. How do you advertise? Where do you want to be? And we talked about that for about 6 weeks, once a week. And I said, you're ready. Go out and find the space. And now he's in business, doing quite well. It's exciting. There was a lady with a jewelry line.
Fantastic.
She needed more sales, and she had a lower end line and a higher end line, but she kept getting off her focus by going and picking up accessories like scarves or hats. But if you want to be in the jewelry area, then focus on jewelry and spend all your time on that. There was another lesson with her, and she was spending 1 to 2 days a week preparing the shipments and then going to the post office to drop off the boxes. You can't grow a business by being the shipping department. Okay, so that was an issue. Some people need grants. I can't say we specialize in that, and that's not anything I deal with. And it's very hard to get a grant, and it takes a long time. Some people want to know how they get access to money. And I'll say up front, the SBA does not give loans to startups. You have to go friends and family. You have to get loans. Banks don't give money to startups either. So you have to somehow patch your way in there to get to a point where you have sales and a story to tell. And then you might be available. Loans might be available. What we do with SCORE is that we offer face-to-face or Zoom-to-Zoom counseling. So just like you and I are talking, we do that too. Right now we're doing it on Zoom because of COVID, but we will also meet you at a coffee shop, a library, your offices, wherever, for a face-to-face conversation. We also believe in co-mentoring. So many times I will bring in another person because with the client, I always figure 2 heads are better than 1. On our website, we have a number of workshops that are on demand with every subject matter known to man. And these are really good. We only put the good ones up. But you've got probably, 75 to 100 1-hour webinars on subject matter, whether it's social media, financing, hire employees, getting an accountant, legal issues, you name it. The resource is just amazing. And there you go to fairfieldcounty.score.org. That's our website.
Fantastic.
If you want to reach me, you go to pat.duncan@scorevolunteer.org, and that's my email to get through to me.
Fantastic.
If you need a mentor, you go on to our website, which again is fairfieldcounty.score.org, and there's a box there that says request a mentor, and you fill out your name, address, and phone number. It's pretty short, and someone will assign you a mentor within a week.
Wow, it's that easy. Well, thank you for sharing all the contact information. I know several people who have used SCORE's services, and I know Felicia herself at Haven, when she launched a business before Haven, was a SCORE. I guess you're a SCORE client. My husband was a SCORE client. So tell me, how is SCORE working with Haven now?
Okay, what we've started now, they have a breakfast once a month, and I come, and there are about 20 people. They all introduce themselves. We have a little breakfast of scones and coffee, and they tell everybody about their business. And then after that hour, I will sit in an office until 12:30 for anybody who wants to talk to me about their issues. So last month, we had 3 people that wanted to talk. It was like a line outside. It was nice. And I will be there again the 15th. I will be there again, and that's at Haven and Darien from 9 o'clock until 10. And then I'll be there holding court until 12:30.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Can I tell you about Haven?
Yes, please.
Haven is a wonderful co-working space with a sense of community. So you can come in and have a cup of coffee and talk to other people about your issues or find out what they're doing. It's just a very friendly atmosphere, and they have all the high-tech equipment you could possibly use. You can rent a space for an hour, a day, a week, a month. Very easy. And they have lots of things going on. Check out their website. They even have walks in the morning out in the woods. And they too have workshops.
I love it. I love the synergy that you are bringing from SCORE to the Haven workplace. Thank you so much. And thank you for your time and sharing your stories and experience with our Haven listeners.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Haven Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders and owners are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Haven is a co-working space and virtual community located in the heart of Fairfield County, Connecticut. Haven is a hub for business owners and professionals to connect, create, and get stuff done. Find out more about the Haven community online at haven.com. That's HAYVN.com. Haven Hubcast is produced by Sound Advice Strategies.